Danny the Digger Herman, it is great to have you back with us, my friend. How are you?
All is well. Pleasure to be on the show, as always, with you, Eric.
This is your expertise, Danny. A fascinating new archaeological discovery in the Arnona neighborhood of Jerusalem, right near the U.S. Embassy. Tell us more about it and why it's so important.
Yes, despite the pandemic, the research is still going on in different fields, including archaeological research. And this site that has just been announced is about 400 meters away from the American new embassy in Jerusalem. First of all, the site was in use about 2,800 to 2,700 years ago, the time of four very interesting biblical kings, Hezekiah, followed by Menashe, Amon, and then Josiah. And Hezekiah and Josiah are very famous in the Bible for doing the major religious reform of desecrating all those pagan worship centers.
They were two of the good kings.
Yes, and Menashe and Amon in between were the bad kings.
They found, some 120 ancient seals? Tell us a little bit more about what exactly they found inside this structure.
Beneath and on the side of this big pile of rocks, they found a structure for the first time. And not just any structure, but a massive structure. The foundation trenches indicated it was a big structure filled with jars. They found a lot of pottery shards, including jar handles, and over 100 of them were stamped by the owner or by the commander who collected those jars. Most of them were inscribed with the title Lamelech, which means in English, to the king or of the king. Okay? And this type of series of stamped jar handles called Lamelech are known from many other sites and are attributed to King Hezekiah. Why did King Hezekiah make a big order of collecting taxes? It's not related to the religious reform, but we believe it's related to the big threat of the Assyrian attack.
Yes.
Okay?
Sennacherib.
When the previous king of Assyria died, Hezekiah made a fatal mistake in retrospect to not pay the taxes to the Assyrians and rely on the Egyptians. And boy, was that a mistake. Sennacherib proved to be very serious on collecting taxes also from Judah, and he invaded Judah and plundered it and destroyed all of the cities. He failed to conquer Jerusalem. The Bible credits the angel that struck the army and caused some sort of a plague. Here's a biblical plague, if you wish, the early version of the COVID-19. But you could also credit Hezekiah for making storage warehouses where he collected a lot of grains and liquids to last a long siege. And maybe the Lamelech series is part of it. Okay? But later he was followed by Menashe. And Menashe, according to the Bible, is a bad king. He renews the pagan worship of Asherah and Baal and so on. And listen to this. Besides all the jars, they also found dozens of parts of clay figurines. Female figurines that are identified by many scholars as Asherah, and figurines of horses that might relate to chariots of clay that are also mentioned in the Bible. Okay?
So basically pagan deities and idols, Danny, that were devoted to pagan worship.
Exactly, at the same site. Okay? So maybe it was first a warehouse and then turned into a place of pagan worship until Josiah shows up.
The great reformer.
Indeed, and the book of Chronicles records in detail how he smashes down all of these high places. I'm reading here from the book of Chronicles. In the 12th year, he, Josiah, began to purge Judah and Jerusalem of high places, Asherah, poles, and idols. Under his directions, the altars of the Baals were torn down. He cut to pieces the incense altars that were above them and smashed the Asherah, poles, and idols. Smashed them. And indeed, those figurines were always found smashed. Now, this site indeed has all of these smashed idols, piles of rocks embedding the site, okay? And it's very tempting. When I did all of this reading and interviewed the archaeologists, I found it very tempting to suggest maybe this is it. This is one of those places where the religious reform caused a deliberate burial of a high place.
Wow.
Okay, and I'm still waiting to hear the final report with all the information to see if my theory is correct or maybe not. But that's the beauty of research, of science, of archaeology. You just never know what you might find. And it's not the only big hill of stones in the area, okay? And also the Bible records it wasn't just a single location. It was places of worship that were desecrated. And within the range of that site, there are two more hills of stones, and I know of a fourth one above in Karem, the hometown of John the Baptist by Christian tradition. So there are several hills of stones in this area. And maybe it's time we also research the other ones and see if we find the same kind of evidence, okay? Smashed idols under a big pile of rocks.
Danny, we will see you again soon right here on The Watchman. God bless, my friend. Take care.
Thank you so much, Eric. God bless you too and all the viewers.